Hi Year 6, I hope this finds you well. I'm sorry this can't be a live video, unfortunately I'm in school this week working with the key worker children, so this video will be posted out, so it can't go live. However, I hope you find it useful, and we'll do one every day this week to make up for not being able to do the sessions live. Okay, so for Monday's session we've got Comprehension, okay, from our book. And we are going to be doing, by Harry's request, Beowulf the Warrior. Okay. Beowulf is an ancient poem, but it's not like poems that you'll be used to, or like the ones that we looked at last week, which was the World War I poems. With it being written so long ago, sort of the language structures around it are going to be quite different from what we're used to. However, we'll go through it, we'll have a look through the questions. If at the end of the video you've got any questions about what we've done, or you're not sure, do message me. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to reply straight away because I'm not sure where I'll be at during the school day, but I'll try my hardest to get back to you as soon as I can. Alright, let's get started with the text. So, Beowulf the Warrior. Beowulf, pronounced Beowulf, is a long poem which was probably composed over 1,000 years ago. Now it's interesting to use the verb composed because poetry is, an art form, is similar to music. If you think about the lyrics to a song, that is a poem, it is just put to a rhythm. It was written in an ancient language called Old English. This extract from a translation of the poem describes how a Danish king called Hrothgar is being terrorised by an evil monster. Hrothgar, king of the Danes, glorious in battle, built him a huge hall, its gleaming roof towering high to heaven, strong to withstand the buffet of war. He called it Heorot, and lived there with his queen. At time of feasting he gave to his followers rings and ornaments and bracelets of bright gold, cunningly wrought, graved with runes and deeds of dead heroes. Here they enjoyed feasts and high fellowship, story and song and the pride of armed peace. But away in the treacherous fens, beyond the moor, a hideous monster lurked, fiend from hell, misbegotten son of a foul mother. Grendel his name, hating the sound of the harp, the minstrel's song, the bold merriment of men in whose distorted likeness he was shaped. Twice 6 feet tall, with arms of hairy gorilla and red ferocious eyes with ravening jaws. He, one night, when the warriors of Hrothgar lay, slumbering after banquet, came to Heorot, broke down the door, seized in his fell grip a score and more of the sleeping sons of men, and carried them home for meat. At break of day the hall of Heorot rang loud and long, with woe of warriors and grief of the great king. Thereafter from dark lake and dripping caves, night after night over the misty moor, came Grendel, gross and grim, famished for flesh. Empty the beds, no man dared sleep at Heorot, but Grendel smelt them out of their hiding place, and many a meal he made of warriors. Okay, so it's rather gruesome sort of extract from the poem there. You can see that it's been the extract's been written by Ian Serralier. Quick note, he's the same author who wrote The Silver Sword that we were reading back in January and February in school. Okay, so a little bit of a glossary at the bottom for some of the text in there. So up on line 4 it says buffet. It's not a buffet. A buffet is sort of like a large meal table. This is a buffet, which is an attack. Cunningly wrought, which means it's been skillfully made. So in the text it says that the king gave his followers rings, ornaments and bracelets of bright gold, cunningly wrought. Okay, so wrought there means it's been made. And cunningly brought, it's been made skillfully, so that whatever he's giving to these followers of his, he obviously treasures them. Runes, on line 8 it says that these bracelets and ornaments were graved with runes and deeds of dead heroes. Runes are ancient symbols. Okay, it's you might see symbols that they're very angular looking things. If you Google it, you'll see examples of them. Misbegotten is when it starts talking about Grendel the monster. It says the misbegotten son of a foul mother. Misbegotten means detestable, so ugly, hard to look at, not nice at all. Talks about the minstrel song. A minstrel is just a singer, you know, someone who could play an instrument and put a song to it. Fell is not talking about the past tense of fall here, it's talking about cruel. So it says he broke down the door, seized in his fell grip, so seized in his cruel grip. A score and more of the sleeping sons of men, and a score being sort of another word for 20. So he's grabbing in his grip 20 or so people. Alright then, let's have a go through the questions then. Remember, we're constantly going to be referring back to the text. Okay? So, it says to find and copy, number 1, an example of alliteration from lines 1 to 5. Okay, so if I look back at lines 1 and 5 there, okay, looking for alliteration, I'm looking for where there's a repeated sound. Okay, normally it's sort of like 99% of the time it's when words have start with the same letter. Okay, so Hrothgar, king of the Danes, glorious in battle, built him a huge hall. Okay, so we could put huge hall there. Its gleaming roof towering high to heaven. I like that. To strong to withstand the buffet of war, he called it Heorot and lived there with his queen. I'm going to go high to heaven there because I like the sort of the bounce of that in the poetry. High to heaven, bum the bum, rather than huge hall. I'm going to go high to heaven there, but either of them would have done. Okay, so when we were reading through the text, reading through Beowulf, it doesn't read like a poem, it reads more like a story. Okay, and I was paying careful attention to where full stops and punctuation were to help me with that. But it is, still a poem. It asks on question 2, what does the word treacherous mean on line 11? So we'll look back. Away in the treacherous fens. Okay, so if we have a treacherous fen, treacherous, if you were talking about someone as being treacherous, they'd be cunning and deceitful and always trying to sort of get the better of you. But when you talk about the landscape being treacherous, it's dangerous. It's a bit unpredictable. Sort of sometimes people talk about treacherous driving conditions, because it's not safe. So the word treacherous here is referring to the landscape. It's talking about the treacherous fens and the moors. Okay, so I'm just going to put an unsafe environment with dangers. Okay. On question 3, it says to summarise what happens in lines 19 to 23, and so it's 2 marks. So it's looking for 2 details here. When it says summarise, it basically is another word for summing up. So lines 19 to 23. So that's from here, 21 to 3 down to there. He one night, when the warriors of Hrothgar lay slumbering after banquet, came to Heorot, broke down the door, seized in his fell grip a score and more of the sleeping sons of men, and carried them home for meat. Okay, so what's happened here is Grendel the monster? He's broke into the castle, or this hall. He's broken into Heorot, and he has taken away sort of men who were sleeping. Okay, and he's taken them home to eat. So that's it in a summary. That is what's happened. He's broken into the castle. Should I say castle? Castle never actually gets mentioned. He breaks into the hall. Let's use Hrothgar as well. Not Hrothgar. Heorot. So I'm not going to put he. I'm going to put Grendel. Breaks into Heorot. I'm going to get the spelling right. I'm just going to check that. Breaks into Heorot. That's one detail. That's 1 mark. And I'm going to put steals. Steal people. I'm going to put seizes. Sort of use a bit of one of the verbs from the text. And seizes several sleeping men to take away and eat. So it doesn't actually say that he's going to go, and it doesn't say specifically go and eat. It says he carried them home for meat. So you infer that, you know, that he's going to eat them. So there we've got the two details there. He breaks in, he takes these people away. All right. On to number 4 then. How do you think Hrothgar might feel at the end of this extract? Explain your answer using evidence from the text. Okay? So, the fact that it explicitly comes out and says, explain your answer using evidence from the text, you're going to get 1 mark for explaining your answer. You're going to get a 2nd mark for using a suitable extract. You are not going to get a mark for really just saying, I think he felt sad. Okay? The emotions at this stage, where you're at now, need to be more in depth than he was happy, he was sad, he was crying, he was mad. You know, you need to be getting a little bit more precise with your descriptions there. So what I'm going to look at here in the text towards the end is this line stands out for me. At break of day, the hall of Heorot rang loud and long with woe of warriors and grief of the great king. Okay. You know, so if you're in grief, you know, you'd be in grief if you'd had a major loss. Okay, so you'd be incredibly upset. But then after that it says, thereafter from dark lake and dripping cave, night after night, basically it is carried on. Okay, so I'm going to use grief of the great king as one of my extracts, but I'm going to use the fact that this carried on. So, you know, his mood really got worse. So I'm going to say Hrothgar, let's spell that right. Would have felt immense sorrow. Okay, so rather than think he was very sad, immense sorrow for those killed. And this would have continued to get worse. I'm gonna have to use a little bit more than the lines that they've given me. I think really for this one I needed a little more than 2 lines. This is clear from, I'm going to put the extract in here, so I've got the inverted commas, grief of the great king, and the words thereafter. Okay, I think that's definitely worthy of 2 marks there. I've said how he feels that it's going to be going on for some time, and I've got some evidence there from the text to support my view. Okay, so question 5 is getting onto the sort of author's use of languages. That was talking about how does he make this extract tense and exciting. Okay, and I think if you sort of look towards, I'm going to focus on the bit where it's describing the monster and then towards the end. So it says here, this hideous monster, this fiend from hell, distorted likeness, twice 6 feet tall, arms of hairy gorilla, red ferocious eyes, ravening jaws. Okay, he's got some really powerful adjectives in there to describe this monster. And also, as it goes on, excuse me, it talks about the dark lake and dripping caves and the misty moor. So he uses lots of poetic devices in it, like the alliteration, the dark and dripping misty moor, the repeated sounds night after night. Okay, famished for flesh, gross and grim. Okay, so there's a couple of things I'm going to put here. So it says 2 marks. So the author uses I'm going to put emotive. Emotive basically means it calls upon your emotions. It makes you feel when you're reading it. So it uses emotive language to describe the monster. And an alliteration to bring descriptions of the environment to life. Okay, so I've made 2 points there. He uses emotive language and uses the alliteration. I'm also going to put in here some examples of that alliteration. Misty Moor, gross and grim, famished for flesh. I'm really running out of space now. I want to be writing too much. Now number 6 is a question. We're going to do this a little bit differently. It says, does this extract make you want to read more of Beowulf? Explain your answer. So what I'd like you to do, it's a 2-mark question. I'd like you to basically write that your answer out for me for number 6 there, and send it to me. Either type it out into Dojo, send me through what you've got, or send me a picture of your answers that you've done. You can submit that onto your portfolio, and I'll have a look at that. And what I'll do is I'll basically send that a response back saying how many marks I think you'd get for that. Remember, 2 marks, so you're not just going to get yes, it'd make me want to read on, no, it doesn't want to make me read on. You have to reason your response and maybe give 2 reasons there. Okay. So I know it's a little bit shorter than we're normally used to, but I think, you know, when we're doing a normal session, you know, we're interacting, we have those conversations, that sort of, you know, adds a bit more time to the session. So I apologise, it's a little bit short. It just doesn't feel right after 3 months of having, you know, interaction and messaging you throughout the session. But hey ho, we'll carry on. The next one we're going to do, the next text that we will do, and it will be for the week beginning the 22nd, which again will probably be a pre-record because I'll be back in school. That one will be Moonfleet, okay, which is before Beowulf, pages 22 and 23. I'm saying that now, so if you want to go and do the text over the next week, you can do. But yeah, we'll come back to that next week. I hope you guys are all safe and well. You've had a good weekend and dodged some of the rain, made the most of the sunshine, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Tomorrow's video will be about the grammar exercises. You can find the information on Dojo. If you've got any messages, just let me know. Send them through to me. Even if you just want to guess how many coffees I've had at school in the morning, I will, respond and let you know when I'm able to. Okay, that's it for now. Stay safe. Miss Hyde.